Beneath these stones, a royal secret still breathes. After secrecy and inspection, the reward arrives at the royal table.
She judges before she spees, by scent alone.
Not water, not syrup. This is honey as dense as power. For the king, taste is a verdict. He searches for smoke, purity, and strength in a single drop.
In her silence, approval or punishment forms.
Once approved, the honey is served in small, controlled portions, still sealed, still counted.
In the Pyramid Age, even sweetness was ruled by secrecy and sealed by the throne. This is where royal honey begins, drawn from clay hives long before it reaches the palace. Smoke calms the colony, so the harvest can be precise, not violent. A thin veil of smoke, enough to soothe, never enough to taint the honey. The first opening is always the most dangerous moment. A living factory, warm, crowded, and filled with gold. They cut the cap first, so the honey is released on their terms.
The comb is taken with care, because the colony must survive the next season.
Honey moves slowly, heavy, elastic, unmistakable. Each person has one job, and the harvest stays calm. From hive to hidden chamber, the honey's journey begins long before the palace tastes it. Only firelight guides the way, because this place was never meant to be seen. A door sealed by power opens only for the palace. Here, sweetness is not a treat, it is currency. In the hidden factory beneath the pyramid, every breath is guarded, and every drop is counted. One signal, and the entire underground world obeys. This is not a farm. This is a royal workshop built in stone. Even the hives are treated like sacred vessels. The first cut breaks the seal of the colony and begins the harvest. No rushing. In this chamber, time is part of the recipe. What looks like gold is food reserved for power. A single mistake here could cost more than a year of wages. Linen becomes the first gate, catching wax, ash, and dust from the underworld air. In this chamber, hands replace machines, slow pressure, perfect control. Every drop is watched, because purity is the palace's demand. Heat is controlled with fire alone. Too much, and the flavor turns. Thickness is the first proof. This honey must move like slow silk. Batch by batch, they prepare what will feed the royal table.
This is cleansing water only. Tools are washed and dried before the next honey batch begins.
A second gate, finer, slower, and closer to perfection. Impurities are named and removed, like sins in a sacred rite. In the palace factory, measure is law. Every jar must match the royal standard. Air is guided, not forced, so smoke and scent never escape the pyramid. Clarity, scent, resistance. 3 tests before sealing. When the honey moves, it travels like a royal convoy. Here, the seal is not decoration. It is the lock that keeps the palace's secret alive.
One continuous line. No gaps, no mercy.
Cooling is controlled, because a weak seal invites betrayal. In the darkness, every jar gains an identity, so the palace can trace every drop.
This is the treasury of sweetness, counted like gold.
They wedge the jars apart and test each one, so nothing shifts, nothing cracks.
When the wax hardens, the secret hardens with it. Not everyone who enters is allowed to leave with knowledge.
Deeper still, toward the chamber where the next inspection begins.
The deeper the hall, the closer we get to the throne's eye. Before royalty arrives, the jars are presented like evidence, perfectly aligned, perfectly sealed. They polish not for beauty, but for proof.
That rhythm means only one thing. The royals are coming.
Fire becomes the announcement, lighting the path for power. They stand like living guards, still, alert, and human, because the royals are near.
The first judgment belongs to the king.
And then, Cleopatra. The room learns to breathe again.
Their presence turns work into ceremony. Every step slows, every eye lowers.
A seal is a promise. Break it, and you break loyalty.
The king does not ask twice. He signals, and the factory moves.
Only under royal eyes may a seal be opened, and it must be done without leaving a single crack. Clean cut, no fractures, the sign of master hands.
The scent alone tells a story. Flowers, smoke.
Now comes the moment that decides reward or ruin.
In her stillness, an empire judges.
If the king approves, the batch becomes royal. The seal returns, stronger than before, as if nothing happened. Approved jars are organized for movement, aligned, counted, and kept level. From the hidden workshop to the palace, every step protects the seal. They move slowly on purpose, so the honey stays level and the seals stay intact.
They protect the seal from water, smoke, and time, 3 enemies of storage.
What leaves this chamber carries her name and her consequences.
The path to the palace is not a road. It is a controlled ascent. No spills, no tilt. The honey must arrive exactly as it was sealed. A single loose knot can become disaster in a narrow passage.
The king's inspection continues. Precision is the only acceptable language.
Identity is locked to each vessel, so the palace can trace every drop back to its hands. The underground factory meets the palace corridor, where secrecy becomes spectacle.
Let the palace receive what the pyramid has refined.
Even at rest, the honey moves like captured light.
At the palace gate, the underground work becomes royal inventory.
Set down without shock, so the seals remain unchallenged.
No jar enters the palace unseen. Kiruk is a second seal.
The king's final inspection is simple. Look, signal, confirm, then the jars become palace inventory.
Approval doesn't need words, only certainty.
Now the honey is divided. What will be served and what will be hidden. Linen becomes armor against heat, impact, and curious hands. Some jars are meant to be found. Others are meant to disappear. A perfect seal is a perfect silence. No fractures, no questions.
When the stone closes, access ends. Only the seal and the silence remain. The palace keeps what it values, behind stone and ritual. Power doesn't linger. It decides and moves on.
Her silence is the final seal.
What survives here is not just food, but a system of power.
Names are carved into clay, so memory cannot deny the hands that made it.
When the work ends, the pyramid becomes silent again, but it never truly sleeps.
Above, sand and sky. Below, an industry built on secrecy.
Some royal recipes were never meant to be shared, only obeyed.